Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. Hank, and welcome to our Mastermind Magnets. That this is just a fabulous group that we have so many people that have agents that have increased their wealth, their business, just in incredible ways. And you're going to love this mastermind. And basically, our format is I'll give you an overview on what's going on in the world and the reason why you want to do that. And so this is really, and I would really start writing down as you hear some things, because you want to think about what kind of conversations can I have with my list, if you will. In fact, our referral program we just reviewed, we have 3 exclusive lead programs that we created. It's all under our umbrella here with our Mastermind Magnets. And one of them is a referral program. And so we have 5 videos on that, and you may want to write that down and do that. In fact, I had one agent in Florida called me yesterday and said, wow, I went to your mastermind for the first time last week, and you were talking about the referral program and to write some notes. And so I wrote 10 notes, and she got 1 listing yesterday out of that. So would you like to just write 10 notes to people, connect with them, and get a listing? And listings is the name of the game. So anyways, I'll start out on just a brief overview of the world. Lots of information. And again, just, write down on something on, hey, I can, share that with somebody, or maybe just write down it all on each point that I give on where the economy is, where COVID is, where real estate is, etc. And then after we do an overview of that, we're going to get into one of our lead programs, and we're going to do the new home builder program. And it's funny, I talked to an agent earlier this week, and I said, hey, late last week, actually, and a few days ago. And they said, oh, I know all about the new home a new home builder, program. And I said, really, what? And she goes, well, that's, just where you go into new home builders and, see if they got any stuff going on. I said, no, that's not it at all. That we go in, we set up an appointment, and we offer more value than any other agents. We become preferred agents, and literally all these programs, they're free. And we're seeing at least 80% of the leads close. And go find that at Zillow or Realtor.com or whoever. You just can't. It's really just incredible. So to begin, the 3 considerations of in selecting a real estate agent, and the number 1 is relevant, local, national, real estate news. And so guess what? You're going to be up to speed. I mean, some of this is hot off the press from within the last 24 hours. And so some of it you may know, but I bet there's some things that you don't. Also about your community reputation. And again, that's why we have these lead programs that build that reputation. And then what your local connections are. So this is our mastermind group. So you want to get to know each other, talk to each other, get on early. I usually turn this on a half hour before. We have it every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Central, and a great way for you to talk to each other and whatever. And I'm doing other things, like I'm meditating and having fun and whatever, but I'll be on at 11. And then afterwards, and after we do the recording, we actually stay on and we talk, and sometimes those are just the juiciest stuff, that you would want. But this is how to get local connections. And we have, anywhere in the United States, we have local connections for you, and it might be a lender in fact, we have a national lender that is just amazing, and we'll talk about that low interest rate and how great it is. But those are the top 3, and so we're going to give you now you're going to have all the relevant local, national, information that you want, and then at the end, then we'll actually open it up to everybody, and any thoughts that you have, any questions that you have, and while we're going through this, if you do have a question, or if you text something, that just open it up, ask me, unmute yourself. So let's take a look at the markets. In the past week, home loan rates hovered at all-time lows, below 3%. And that's really a big thing. For your sellers, it means that, hey, there's more buyers out there that can buy more house. And so, which means they have a bigger opportunity for them. And then, of course, buyers, they get to buy, more house. And all this came by the uncertainty and the impact of COVID-19. And the feds are going to keep this, and just take my word for it. When I share this information, just, you might have never seen it anywhere because I just kind of know this stuff and, been channeling this stuff, but low rates are going to keep low for a long time. And so, so that's a good news. I wouldn't necessarily share that with everybody because we want that urgency, with them. But right now, take advantage of it. My son just refinanced. He's saving $400 a month, and but he was actually furloughed, so he couldn't do a refinance. Just got hired back into a higher position, all this wonderful stuff. And so I told him, like I share with all of you, just look for the opportunities. And so these changes will bring opportunities. And so my son, he got promoted, got a promotion and more money and all that good stuff. But now he's saving $400 and he got 2.78% interest rate. So just amazing. Housing continues to be the bright spot in the U.S. economy, and pending home sales. And so again, this might be some information you want to share with your, you can call up anybody and say, hey, I wanted to let you know about, some really amazing things happening in real estate. And so interest rate is one of them, but another one is this pending home sales. And so it soared this week. And, within the last 7 days, pending home sales, and the real estate community has boosted their sales force forecast for 2020, which means, NAR and everybody is saying, oh, wow, we think real estate is going to be bigger than we really knew and that we thought of. And I told you that this year is going to be the biggest year for you. And it is for many of you. And I'm looking at a few of you that, it's the biggest year for you, and it'll continue to get better and better. Now listen to this, and this isn't in the news, and it's just funny on how the news says like gross domestic product decreased by 30%. That's not true at all. That it's annualized that way, really only decreased by 11%. But guess what? What they didn't tell you is the recession has ended. And so it's probably the first time you've ever heard that. The recession has ended in the second quarter. Starting at the end of May and then June, that the recession literally has ended, because remember, it was a pretend, a made up recession. It wasn't really anything broken. And so we're seeing the third quarter is going to likely be the largest increase of GPT, gross domestic product, in U.S. history. And why is that important? That means job, that means opportunities, it's just all kinds of things. So everything is so good. And I just know you haven't heard it on the news. In fact, I was watching something, I think it was maybe a basketball game, kind of watching it, but it was on ABC, and when it ended, it immediately went to ABC News. I never watched the news because, it's all bad stuff. And I just had to laugh that they start out with, oh, there's this terrible hurricane coming, on the East Coast, and really it's not hitting, it's 80-mile-an-hour winds that hit Florida. And again, I don't have an update on it because I don't care about it, and it doesn't have anything to do with our experience, right? For most of you, you're not even living in that area. And then it went to the COVID, a number of deaths, and that's a whole nother thing on the count deaths. Anybody who dies and their blood shows they had COVID, they died from COVID, even though that really only 10% of the deaths, like today, 10% of the deaths are COVID. 90% are from all these other things like heart disease, cancer, pneumonia, car accidents, all that. Why don't we focus our attention on that? Or better yet, why don't we just focus our attention on what we want? And so the housing market ended with unprecedented jump in open transactions, which are carried into July. So which means we already have a jump start on this, that went through July. And that jump fueled by the pent-up demand of consumers. So we talked about that. Brian always said that we kind of, what the government did is crimp the hose, and so it was all this pent-up demand. But the home sale transaction, where a contract has been signed, but the sale hasn't closed, so it's called a home sale transaction, open volume, it surged 21% in June and 30% in July. And so there's all kinds of good news about the economy, and again, that means jobs and everything else. I also have, and if you're ever interested, if you'd like to have a weekly recap of COVID, you can see all the different graphs and everything. Just let me know, but there's amazing things that happen. U.S. hospitals, they've been losing money, and I mean, all this is going to cost us. People have delayed operations and surgery, but U.S. Hospital occupancy finally went up to 65.9%. The fear was it would be over 100%. That never happened at all. It was about 30% on a national level. And the national average, just so you know, so again, the hospital occupancy is 65.9%. The national average, like all the time last year, whatever, is 66.1%, which means it's finally back to normal on where it is. And there's all kinds of things, but on ages and everything that you would want to know about COVID is on this. Again, I'm going to just leave that because I know all of you have this mindset of, hey, the only thing that affects me is if I pay attention to it. So let's pay attention to this. Again, the CDC says 99.995% of us are just fine. So if you keep it at that and go out and build your business, serve people, make lots of money, have fun, and play, that it will all play out for you. And then an update on the government, because we got to watch the government on what they're doing, because it does impact us. And so there is a program called Continuing Small Business Recovery and PPP Act. And so just be aware of this. And this is helpful to be able to tell your people, hey, the government is looking at signing this. And they're going to allow you to have covered periods of 8 or 24 weeks now of unemployment. And there's going to be automatic forgiveness for under $150,000 loans. And I could go on and on. There's all kinds of opportunities, but PPP allows for bankruptcy, small business debtors, all kinds of different things. So some of you have a small business, if you will, and it's incorporated and everything. And so there's a lot of opportunities. So again, I'm not going to go into the detail about that, but no, the government is coming out to give you more goodies, and mainly money. And never in the history, 25% of our personal income in May was from the government, and like that's never happened, before. So it's just been something else on what's going on with that. So and now I want to kind of switch. So we looked at that, and protests, we're involved in all of that, and we have every other Tuesday now we're having. So I think it's next Tuesday, we're having another one on reform, and I've been, one of the panelists on that. And so that's been very good for, just know we're all very involved in that. And so if you want to get involved in that or understand it more, whatever, but know that, again, it doesn't have anything to do with our experience unless we allow it to. And so I want to move now specifically to real estate and look for opportunities or not opportunities. And one of the things that happened in 2008, so for those of you that were in the market then, foreclosures was just rampant. It was a big, big opportunity. It took a lot of time and whatever, but you could do a lot of business on it. I would urge you not to go there this time because it's not going to happen. foreclosures aren't going to happen. And they're not going to happen for 4 reasons. And again, it might be helpful for your customers if they're, furloughed or lost their job or whatever. But first of all, the first reason why there won't be foreclosures is called extension, which is forbearance. And so that's where your mortgage lender is going to allow you temporarily to pay your mortgage at a lower payment or pause payment, et cetera. Then there's homeowner equity, and something completely different than '08. What happened in '08 is when everything collapsed, it was, wow, I paid this huge amount for the house, and now it's only worth, 2/3 of that, and so I didn't have any equity. Well, homeowners have equity. In fact, 77% of the homeowners have at least 20% equity. Again, this is just data that, hey, nobody knows. I'm telling you, there's no agents out there. You will just be on the cutting edge of all this to know that, hey, you got equity. And so that's, why you want to do it. And again, I have all kinds of, if you have any interest on any of these topics, I could go on literally for hours on all of this. And then the other reason on why there won't be any foreclosures is there's a shortage of inventory. So which means if they want to sell, they can go ahead and give it to one of you angelic agents, and they can sell it. And then also know that there have been tighter lending guidelines since 2008. So during 2008, anybody could get anything. You just needed to show that you were breathing, and you could get a $500,000 house. And so all of that has changed. And so, it's just fun information too on, knowing like, at the bottom line that there's not going to be a rush of foreclosures this fall. So if you think, hey, there might be an opportunity for me, that don't do it. So where is the opportunities and what's going on? And so, I want you to think about strategies. Remember the millennials are going out and they are in their nesting. And so maybe you want to go to millennials. I just spoke with an agent yesterday. And by the way, I encourage you to call me and just say, hey, what should I do? Or, you don't have to even have a question, just a broad question. I'll help you. And really, these phone calls are just amazing, but I help direct this one of our agents into, and he has a booming business, just wanted booming more and where to go, and wanted to get into LinkedIn and wanted to do all kinds of things, wanted to look at passive income and how to do that. And so he's a millennial. And I said, what, probably millennials typically get along well with millennials. So what about doing that? And then what about using your college as a referral base? And so he went, oh yeah, and then how to use LinkedIn. I showed him how to use LinkedIn, and I gave him our resource. Remember, we have all kinds of resources. So if you want to get into social media heavier, that we have free resources for, you can get Karen, that she's behind your curtain, and behind your curtain, even though she's a beautiful girl, she's behind, way better looking than I am, and she's behind my curtain, and makes everything look pretty on social media. So homeowners say that they want room for an office in their next housing choice. So forget about the media rooms, forget about the wine cellars, forget about the home spots. The hottest item for buyers now with COVID-19 is a home office. So be thinking about that. And when you're doing a listing presentation, you let them know, hey, I want to start, developing a home office. Let's take this bedroom and make it into a home office. Call it that, because that's going to attract buyers. And so millions of Americans are now working at home. Home hunters are looking for more room to have their work hats, if you will. And so know that the home office is just a real exciting area. And then I just want to focus on the importance of a quality of a contact. So just don't be sending emails to people. If you can be more personal and send notes, call people, and just ask them how they're doing, because here's why. The quality of your contact that you make daily determines the quality of the leads you generate, which determines the quality of your appointments, which determines the quality of your transactions. And so be thinking, yeah, I really want to start connecting with people. And again, with my example that just from last week on talking about the referral program, that one agent called me yesterday and said, my God, out of the blue, I got a listing because I did what you suggested to do. So again, whatever you think feels good, I'd like you to move forward with that. So all kinds of other good things. Any questions, comments before we move on to our one of our exclusive lead programs? But any thoughts behind that? Any comments?
It's all good stuff. I really like that 77% of homes have equity in them. And I think it's one of the things people need to understand and know, that when the last recession happened, that it was a requirement in order to do a cash out refi or any type of home equity line of credit, you have to keep at least 20% equity in your home. You can't go and cash out everything in your home. So that's where the housing market really took strong initiatives to help people to make sure that if something like this happened, that they were in a space to help keep them safe and do the best for them and help them to be the best that they could be and not panic and start doing stuff and pulling money out. You can't do it. It's just so it's a good point to share with people in helping them understand the stability of the housing market, when traditionally the housing market has been, it'll fall after the stock market, but then it'll be like the last one to come up and out. Well, what happened in housing with this is that it was the first one to come up and out. It was the first one to start kind of like raising up, and people were like, hey, and really it never really even stopped if you look at the numbers. And if you look at the numbers, and I was following them every day here in DFW, and there were a few more listings coming on for a period of time there than were actually homes going under contract, but it only lasted about a month. And then all of a sudden it just skyrocketed, and we were having conversations while all this was going on. Hey, this is a great time to buy. And I was having conversations with people like, well, I'm freaked out. Let me tell you something. I tried to explain to people, hey, this is going to be the time right now, because what's going to end up happening is once people start to wake up, there's going to be a flood of people on the market. It was the kinking of the hose thing. And what ended up happening, it got unkinked and it started flying out. And that's what ended up happening. And everyone was like, oh my God, we're in multiple offers. And it, okay. I mean, it's like, we are on the cutting edge of constantly getting data. And we're in this age and time as well, where there's not a lag time of a couple, no, we know what's going on immediately. We know what's happening. It's not, I mean, we're in the information age, period. So the information comes fast, it comes quick, and you have to make a decision based on that information. And, it's not, I don't know. I don't think about the wait on it for a couple of days. And I think most of us here would be in alignment with this. Meditate on it for 5 minutes. Whatever the decision, stop, go meditate for 5 minutes. And then whatever comes to you from there, go and make your decision. So
I love that. And that's the best counsel, because then you're making a decision with God when you relax, calm yourself, breathe deeply, and get quiet your mind so God can speak to you. Your higher self can speak to you, your soul, whatever word that you're most comfortable with. And Ryan, I know that's why, Ryan's one of the top agents in America, is because, is out there and having fun and, about love and all of those things, because, he, before he really even moves, does anything action, you see, if you keep on do, you get do. But if you'll just, slow up a little and, breathe deeply and then ask, hey, what is the inspiration inspired action that I want? Which direction should I have? And then you'll all of a sudden get some thoughts, and then you'll attract people or an idea or whatever that will help lead you to what you want. And you're exactly right, Brian. Mike, did you say it was 18 offers on one listing or 12?
It was 28. 28.
20.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the third buyer that I'm working with that has been in that. I've got one that we finally got one under contract, and we put offers in on 7 houses and got beat out. Finally on the 8th we got it, and then another one that we just closed last month was on. I think we had offered on 6 houses that we had gotten beat out on, just because it's just a madhouse. But what I'm noticing and what I'm seeing in the market is a lot of these houses are coming back on the market, which I'm trying to figure out what that is. And what the only thing that makes sense to me, and if you guys have any input, I'd love to hear it. I think what's happening is all these buyers they're going to see houses. They're like, put an offer in on this one, put an offer in on that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And they're putting all these offers in. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, which one do I really want? And then all these houses are coming back on the market. So I'm trying to, re-encourage my buyers, like, hey, listen, just hold off, because this might be back on the market here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
I do have a couple of comments. I think a part of that is that maybe some people they're making offers sight unseen. Mm-hmm. Then they're going in, they're doing their inspections, and based on the inspection, they're getting information that's telling them, for whatever reason, this isn't the best home for them. I think that might be a part of it. And it's all good. It's just a process that we're going through. But the one thing I would suggest as well, and I have several listings, I posted them in the chat here, coming on. There's one active right now, but that you guys can go on KV Core and use that to market for yourself. Like, yeah, it's helpful for me because you're marketing my property, but when you guys market a property on KV Core, that goes out as your listing. So go ahead and use these listings, and really anyone, all you have to do is ask the agent. It's a good way to connect with other agents as well. But my point about the pictures is there's some companies that they're calling them Mataports or dollhouse photos. I would recommend on all of your listings do that, because you can, man, on one of my condos, I did the dollhouse and photos, and I was like, I zoomed in, I was like, oh man, it zoomed in right on like a hole. I was like, crap, that's too specific. I mean, that's something you wouldn't even freaking see if you walked in there, And I was just like, oh man, hey, what have we gotten ourselves into here? It's
good, because
it is. It's super great, and I have so many people, buyers as well, when they're going into these listings, what they're being able to do, they're not having to. Here's the other cool thing: we're not having to spend as much time going to the properties after maybe we've got them under contract, because a lot of times people want to go back to the properties, and if they have these dollhouse, they can do all the measurements themselves through these photos. So we don't have to go back out there afterwards and measure and do all that stuff. They can do it from the convenience of their homes, or their phone for that matter, wherever the hell people are.
Yeah, and I love that point too on using KV Core. And again, here's a listing that it'll show up. It looks like your listing. And you may get a buy or whatever out of it, but really what you're also looking for is you're looking for listings, and you can get listings out of that because they see you and you're out there, and they say, oh, you're in that neighborhood, you're an active agent. Remember, it's that credibility and that reputation in the community that's important. And then they'll reach out to you, and so it's a way to get listings. And another reason why listings are coming out more now is that of course, because everything is starting to, there's less cases, and you know, the only reason why we know there's so many cases is because there's never in the history of the world been so much testing on any flu before. And so we've had, you know, what, over 50 million people now, you know, tested. And so that's why we know about the testing. If you walk in the hospital, you get tested, you know, all kinds of stuff on why you're getting tested. And so people are realizing, hey, you know, gee, you know, people deaths have decreased by 84% now, and so people are feeling more comfortable about listing their homes. Before it was, hey, I just stay in my home and I'm not having anybody in here. And then also we have solutions for people listing their homes, and that is that, hey, we can do it in a clean way. And so, you know, they're looking for, how do I do clean? Well, one way is that we do, you know, virtual open houses, we do virtual tours, we do a Facebook with potential buyers, you know, going through, and just one person, we tell the seller to keep all the lights on, open all the doors, and we're not going to touch anything. We're going to only have 2 or 3 people in there. If you're having an open house, and again, all these are just great ways to be able to leverage to get people to sell. But if you're going to have an open house, what you do is we'll have loan officers out in front of that house taking applications to make sure that they're qualified, so we don't just have people, you know, kicking the tire, if you will. And what that does is that gives you more buyers. So, okay, and if they're sellers that say, well, I'm really not, I just want to sell, and you say, okay, great, the loan officer gives you that you know, listing. So there's all kinds of ways to leverage other people for you to have these open houses. And again, you meet them in the front yard and you do all of this, and that way the seller is, so you want to give ease to this idea about being safe. You know, and really safe is the word, and then clean, I guess, after that. But, you know, they're concerned with safety. Any other thoughts, comments about that? Great. Hey, Teresa, we have a wonderful, one of our just amazing exclusive lead programs that where, you know, you have more time, you don't have to work is hard, it's easy, it's fun, it's a way to build relationships, is this new home building. And I know you've been very involved with that, Teresa, and have had lots of success. And I know you have another lead program that's kind of consuming all your time. You have so much business. And last week, I think you said you have so much money, you don't know, it's coming in all different places and locations. You really don't know how much money you've made. And boy, we love that. And but would you this morning share with us on the strategy that you've used successfully to be able to get into builders and be the preferred agent for all the people that are walking up to them? And if I can, that just understand that this isn't a normal buyer, because you don't have to be taking that buyer all over the place. It's right at the new home builder. So, you know, it's just a matter of signing them up under your name. So it's very easy. So it's not the typical buyer. The other thing on some of these buyers is they have a home that they do need to sell before they can buy their new home. So it really can work magic. So with that, Teresa, can you share a little with us about your strategy and our strategy using new home builders?
Sure. Hey, everybody. Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Dr. Hanks. In abundance, blessings in abundance. Anyway, so this is a fairly new program, and it's in its development stages, and it's going pretty well. So I call it the DFW Builder Buyer Program. And it is about creating relationships with the sales consultant themselves. And often, and I have a new construction background, and so I was the sales consultant. And the agents that I wanted to work with were the ones that appreciated my service personally. And would bring people to Teresa, not necessarily Kay Hovnanian.
Not to the builder.
It felt really good to have an agent call me and say, listen, I've got folks I want to bring over to you. And so what I learned prior was that it's really about the relationship between the realtor and the sales consultant. So when I partnered with Dr. Hank last year, I think I had shared with him 2 programs that I had a passion for. And so this was one of them. And so my position is that I want to develop a relationship with the particular person, an exclusive relationship in that particular community for that particular product. So let me give you an example. I call Erica Klingenberg in Prosper in Liliana. I advertise Erica. I advertise Liliana. I know everything about her product. I know everything about her builder. I know everything about her customer service. And so, excuse me. So if you have, and so here's what she gives in return. So not only, let me finish, not only am I providing my clients with advertising the best builders in DFW, because I know that they're going to operate or perform at the same level of customer service and principles that I do. So not only am I servicing my clients and taking them to these particular people, I also know where I'm taking them instead of going to all these different neighborhoods. So that's where we start. And so from there, if they want to go next door to the other builder, it doesn't mean that they can't choose to go with that other builder, but I've already identified the best builder in the neighborhood. So I don't deter them. And this has recently happened where Eric and I were working with a client. They decided to go to a different community and they decided to go with a different builder who I also had an exclusive with. During the course of that experience, I decided not to promote that builder. So I cut ties with that sales consultant and that builder for reasons that I just mentioned, that they did not perform to my standards at what I would expect from my client. It all worked out in the long run, but the point is that I've moved on to a different builder in that community. And because it's an incredible community, and I actually used to work for Kay Hovnanian in that community. So I've moved on to a different builder and have an exclusive in that particular neighborhood with them. And so back to Erica in Liliana, it doesn't mean they can't go next. She's with American Legend. That is who I advertise. That is the first place I take people in that community. And if they want to go next door to Highland, I also have a relationship with Highland in different communities, exclusive in different communities all over DFW. And 2 right now that I can mention, but to not confuse you, the first goal is to get to know that sales consultant. You're offering them free advertising. You're offering to bring them your clients first. You know that they're going to perform. And it's just a relationship that develops into when they have an unrepresented buyer that walks through the front door, and there's about 100 of them a day, that they call that client because the builder corporate office has roles, and fair enough, a builder's biggest client is realtors and brokers. So they have to be careful that they're not showing favoritism. So the best way to handle that is to be consistent. So you go once a week and you visit with your exclusive sales consultant. And let me tell you what happens. They not only give you unrepresented clients and ask their permission, but she also knows that I'm going to do their listing for a 1% discount, 5% instead of 6. And she knows that I'm going to contribute $1,000 towards their closing cost or any upgrade they'd like to apply it to for a build.
That's
So
sweet.
yeah, so it's a win-win for Erica because she's being consistently advertised. And that is a handshake. If somebody walks in and says, I saw your advertisement today on Facebook, she say, which page? And if they say, an agent named Teresa Price, she knows to call me and say, you've got some folks here. So that's a handshake and a trust relationship. And then the other thing is she knows that that client and that listing that they're going to get the highest standard of performance and level of service. So it's a relationship that's to be developed between the
Your mic is going again. Talk again. Try it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Teresa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're, go ahead and try to talk again. Your mic just went again. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mike that's on the call.
No. Your microphone went. Did you guys hear that too?
Yes.
Yeah. So you really need to get a new mic.
I don't think it's the mic. I think it's the internet.
Oh yeah, probably.
We're moving next week and getting a different internet.
New house, yeah,
Can you
baby.
hear me okay?
Yeah. You're good now.
So the last thing that I wanted to say about it and that I've learned is consistency.
Yeah.
So if you can find 5 people that you can develop that relationship with and consistently get in front of them, go to the model, do a video, set your schedule to promote them once a week, go see them once a week. And when you show up, you say, so who have you got for me this week?
Yeah.
They are too busy right now. Builders are not desperate. They're writing 10 to 15 contracts a week.
Right.
And if you're in front of them, they actually are going to say, oh my God, I'm so busy. I'm so tired. I've worked 12 hours. No, you know what? There's this one client, they've got to sell their house first. Please here, call them, or let me call them and introduce you via email. But the key is that they're not going to remember you. They're too busy. You've got to get in front of them. Yeah. And I found that the best days to do that, even if you call them, but it's better to show up, is to call them on Monday because they have just gone through hundreds of people, or to catch them on Friday. They're freaked out about the people they haven't followed up with yet that week, and they're gearing up for another busy weekend. So Mondays and Fridays are key.
And then also isn't Monday good because they have, the weekend and all of the rush that people come in, and maybe that's a way to give them some relief. And one of the things that we offer, and so, it really just is an amazing leads program, and where Teresa really has taken it to the next level. I used to train on this 10 years ago, and did a lot of the same things, but Teresa has such a focus on that sales consultant and meeting with them. But there's things like bringing them lunch every week. Following up with them on the lead. Say, hey, listen, I'll represent, you, the builder, and I'll follow up on these leads because you want to build these relationships and everything, and you'll get business. But they're people that are interested, and again, they're not the regular buyer. We have the inventory because of this builder, and that's where the inventory is. And then to offer this, so even if you can suggest to do your own flyer with like the builder's picture and your picture, and then all the things you'll offer the buyer. So you could offer bilingual services. We have people that know bilingual and could, help you with that. We give an upgrade, $1,000 upgrade, and that's taken out of your commission at closing. But the builders just love it because typically upgrades are high margin, so they're making more money, and you're giving part of your commission away. And again, you can't look at, gee, I'm giving $1,000 away, I don't want to do that. You got to look at, gee, I'm making $9,000 or whatever that amount is, and so you can take a look at the bigger picture. What was that, Mike?
I'm saying basically you just look at it as a marketing expense.
Right, exactly, yeah. And it's and because you don't actually take it into your checking account, you don't have to worry about the deduction or whatever, that it's done. And so we have this all laid out for you on exactly on what you present, how you do it. And my counsel is always easy. Don't be driving 20 miles to go see the builder. Just go Google and find out where's the closest builder to you, and go and set up. I would call, be real official about that, and your intent with them, and you can share with them, is you want to be their preferred agent. And here's why and so we can also use KV Core to expose them in the social media like no other agents can. There's just all kinds of good things with this. And so Teresa, any other thoughts or comments about this amazing leads program that's free, by the way?
Yes, so your clientele, that is the new build or new construction clientele, is going to be a repeat customer for you. And my number one advice is to, before you select the sales consultant or the builder or the community, is to make sure that they are stellar. There are so many builders out there right now that are being sued, that are getting reviews of less than 1. So I'm working with a smaller builder right now in 2 different locations. And here's another thing that happens once you identify a really good builder and close relationships with sales consultants, is they will refer you to everybody else in every other community for that company. So I just recently yesterday I got an email from, it's a smaller builder, but they're 10 stars all the way around.
Perfect.
And she sent me the name of the president of the company. So you're going to eventually end up there. And if you've got 2 builders like that at that level, and you've got that many sales consultants, be ready. Specialize in new construction, but that's your goal.
Yeah.
Just make sure they're good, because once your folks move in, if they're not, if their customer service isn't good and their product is poor, then you're going to end up on the Better Business Bureau just like they are. So be careful who you select.
Yeah. Well, that's just, and you're so quality. And, I had spoken earlier about, hey, you got to have the quality connection that leads to everything quality, then the referral, the call, the transaction, and so you want to start out quality. And there's just a perfect point to do your research on these new home builders. Now, I would recommend to all of you is to write that down on new home build. I'm going to pursue this as far as at least look into it, and take 10 minutes, a half hour, whatever, and call Teresa or I, about it. That we can send you. I think you have standard email on that one too. Do you have?
Well, I believe Chris Welsh had sent it to you. No.
Okay. Yeah. So
there's a generic version that's on Word. Mine is a PDF. There's a generic version on Word that I can send to you, Dr. Hank. And the next time we talk about this, if you want to pull it up for everyone to see it.
Okay, good.
Or if you want to send it out after.
Yeah, send that to me now, and then I would recommend that you all say, hey, send me an email. And I want to actually give a gold little star to Paula, because Paula, you are just the best. On every week,
Yeah.
we talk about something. There you are saying, hey, let me know about this. And and how I know that you're really following through is the one link that I said, I didn't do this on purpose, believe me, but the one link didn't work because, I had my people working on my YouTube, and because they switched it around, that link didn't work. So, but Paula said, hey, the link didn't work. Now, everybody else that asked me for it or that I sent to, I know they didn't pursue it. They never opened up the link because it wouldn't do, or if they did, they didn't tell me that it wasn't. But hats off to you, Paula, for really taking the inspired action, on these things. And again, every week you should at least write down one thing that's inspiring, and get with me on it, call me, email me, whatever. I had. It was funny. I had one of the agents, and I won't name their name, but they took really good notes, and they asked me for everything that I had offered last week. And it's like, I'm thinking, this will take them a month to get through all of this stuff. So my counsel to you is, hey, what really feels good to you, and is it, hey, the new homeowner, new home builders that we talked about this week, last week, the referral program, which lead program. And remember, on Thursday, we do a review of all this and lay out everything that we offer, but it's basically 10 very unique, exclusive offerings that we give to every agent, and you get to pick and choose which ones you want. And some people asked me, like a couple of weeks ago, we had quite a few people on, and they said, is this a coaching, sales job? Or we're not selling anything. Nobody pays me anything. Nobody kind of gets that. They don't believe it. It's too good to be true. And if you think it's too good to be true, then it will for you. So just know it is true. And we have all kinds of goodies, and it's getting better and better. We have this momentum together as a team that's just exploding, and it's so exciting and so fun. And I just love you all, and just so happy on all the progress and business and service and fun, that we're having. And speaking of fun, for those of you, again, this is a national, podcast. We have people from around the country, but know that that this is applicable. Everything we have is applicable anywhere that you want to be. But if you are in DFW, that our next meeting, live meeting in person, is on August 22nd. So please take a note of that if you're local, or come and fly in, because I don't think our state requires, Texas doesn't require quarantine for 2 weeks, does it? Like, these states.
It depends on where you're coming from.
Oh my God. Okay, well, anyways, check with the local out of their mind government to find out.
Dr. Hank, can I say something about the new home builder program?
Yes.
I've started working with a new home builder in McKinney. Turned out she was a previous customer of mine, and when I sent an email out to my sphere, which was my previous client base of my clothing store I used to own, she says, oh, I work at Grand Homes in McKinney. We got to get together, see what we can do. And so I went and met with her, and then I said, well, I'd like to promote your inventory homes on my social media. And she said, oh my goodness, I have a video of one of them, and let me get my marketing department to put your name on it so that they call you. So she just offered that. I've been promoting that every week, and and by the way, today is National Chocolate Chip Day, Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. So if you need to bring any cookies to anybody.
Now that might be the most important thing we heard all day.
I did.
One other thing, Paula and Dr. Hank and everyone, is that I have a builder that actually matches my 1,000. So
Oh,
like, so for the clients that I'm working with, the
wow.
$1,000 contribution, they also match it.
Oh,
And I talked to her about our first responder program, and she's like, oh, by the way, I've got a fireman coming this Saturday.
oh my
Get me
God.
the, and so I got her the sheet to give to
Yeah,
him. And
yeah.
so,
See, and
So,
that's a whole other, yeah, go ahead.
so we have, I have one sales consultant and they only do it at this one neighborhood here, that matches the first responder, um, 0.5% of the sales price. Well, they offer $1,000. So we do 0.5% of the sales price for first responders on that program. But this particular builder, which is Highland, matches for first responders an additional $1,000.
It's great. So just to make sure everybody understands, so one of our other lead program is first responders, and Teresa really just led that. I hadn't been into just first responders before. She's just done a remarkable, but she had a heart too, and she has experience and background with first responders. And this whole thing has blown up, but from the business perspective, that first responders didn't lose their job, they earn a good income, and then because they're an old organization, mature organization, they have millennials, they have people, retiring, they have people leaving, and so it creates all these opportunities to right size for people, to get them their first new home, whatever. So you have all of these different opportunities, which includes listing opportunities, especially on the people that are retiring, and Teresa has experienced that in the last couple of months on first responders with, listing their home and then buying another home. And so this is just a whole nother arena, and it's also a way to bless them if they're looking for career opportunities. We provide that. I provide mindset, all free, that I provide mindset training for police departments and fire departments and cities, and again, all over the country. So just know, and again, we don't have, we're not going to talk today about that, but know on how all of this kind of comes together. And like, that's why I was sharing with you, the momentum is just going. And like Paula said, yeah, it's just amazing. She went out and has been developing this program, a new home builder program, and so it's creating more opportunities for her. And now she's on their video with their name and everything. So just know this stuff plays out for you, and will build your business, build your wealth, like we do at Agent Wealth Success. So we just have a minute left here, but any other thoughts, comments before we go off the recording? Remember, we're going to stop the recording and we can talk more or whatever, and we'll stay on if you want, and I'll stay on. And but any other thoughts, comments before we conclude today? What did you like best? What today was the best thing you liked? Rob, what did you like best? I see you down there.
Well, I've been looking at a lot of information coming across the network about people forecasting these foreclosures. There's a lot of people forecasting a big wave coming, and so it was interesting to hear your opinion on that, to be frank. And I'm going to do some more research. I'm one of these people that is like, okay, let me take what you've said, but let me dig a little deeper what some of these other people are saying. And because I want to be in a position where if that happens, I want to be prepared for it. And so that I can help people weather the storm if it does come. Interesting.
And so a few thoughts on that, just in response, that if you like that and you're aware of that and whatever, there's always opportunity. All you have to do is pray for it, and God will make more of it. Okay, so it doesn't mean that opportunity isn't there. At the same time, know that this opportunity is going to be nothing like 08. and we shared those 4 reasons. They're 4 solid economic reasons. They don't have to leave. You know, the government says, hey, you don't have to leave. You have to do forbearance, that you can't kick me out. You can't, you know, do any of that. And they're going to extend all of the stuff too. So my counsel to you is, don't do any research on it. I basically, you know, I got the answers for you. And again, what the answer is, it's not going to be as great as '08. It's not a real big opportunity. But if you say, hey, I want to make it an opportunity, you can make anything a big opportunity. So if you like it, but I wouldn't waste any more time researching it, that rather I'd be, hey, if you like the opportunity, it'll be there. That again, I can guarantee you, well, you can mark my words. I'll even give you $100 bill on it. You know? Make it fun. Make it fun. So yeah. So that's great though. And like I say, if you want to pursue that, have you had experience in it before? Have you done foreclosure?
No, not really.
Then for sure you don't want to do this, because foreclosures take a lot of time and working with the banks, and they're no fun.
But back when it happened before, I had people contacting me, trying to sell me their property, because I had been an investor at one time and I'd pretty much liquidated everything. But I never got into that market. It was just going to be too much trouble.
Yeah.
But I just want to be prepared should it happen. But you're right. I'm not going to focus on it, but I just sort of want to hear what other people are saying.
Yeah, you bet. And again, my sources are very good, and pretty much, you know, I could tell you that's how it's going to be. But like I say, hey, feel free to, you know, do it. I just wouldn't invest a lot of time, because we already have the answer. And but if you want to go and do it, I can guarantee you that if you focus your attention on it, will be there. There are homes that will foreclose because of this, but there's a lot of reasons why it's not going to be anything close to it. In fact, I have a lot more data on all that, and we won't get into it, but banks repossessed 527,000 single-family homes in the first half of 2010. A decade later, banks repossessed just 37,000 homes during the first half of 2020. So there your data is that, again, last time it was 527,000 the first 6 months. This time it's 37,000. So it kind of gives you, oh yeah, it didn't jump start, you know, it's not very good. So I got a lot of data behind that too. If you want it, I'll be happy.
Can I say something on that, Dr. Hank? Because I was around during that that crazy time as well, and from an investment standpoint. And I remember so many people just stopped making their payments, and banks were foreclosing and taking the properties back. But then they got so bogged down with inventory that they weren't even taking properties back from other people. So I think the banks kind of learned from that lesson, and I think they're not as trigger happy to automatically foreclose on properties as well. And they're probably anticipating that being, you know, coming up, I would imagine.
Yeah, great. Well, that's fantastic, and I love the discussion, and I love all you guys. And you know what we do at the end? We like to laugh and have more fun. Let me hear it.
Let's have more fun
As we increase our income.
As we increase our income.
We expect to have it now.
We expect to have it now.
For we understand how.
For we understand how.
I accept prosperity.
I accept prosperity.
And money finds me easily.
And money finds me easily.
Prosperity's my divine right.
Prosperity is my divine right.
The universe is my guiding light.
The universe is my guiding light. Amen.
All right, everybody. I love you. It's great to see you. I'm going to turn off the recording. We'll still stay on for any other thoughts that you have. But thanks for joining me. Love you all. And know that everything that you've been praying for is coming your way now.
Thank you, Dr. Hank.